need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yeah.
Jesus. Can you just wrap it up? Yeah.
I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking.
I'm not really sure if that's a good argument, that if you don't give us what we want, we're going to incite terrorism. I feel like that's a really bad argument, and I don't think that a lot of people support that. And whenever I say a lot of people, I feel like anybody who thinks like that, can we have like an equivalent exchange? Like, let's take an illegal alien that's lived here for 15 years, and he gets your citizenship, and you have to leave. Like, if that's the way that you think, yeah, bro, we can keep him. He's fine. You're getting kicked out.
Right now. I don't want to be here.
Up, please?
I don't want to be here.
I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum. And I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to.
What? What? What is this? What game is this? It's Concord.
To be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
Man. That's me? Yeah. I think that's a lot of people. You've got a lot of snowflakes melting here. It's pretty, like, I don't see how anybody can listen to these people talk and not come to the conclusion that these people have a profound mental illness and there's something seriously wrong with them. Just like the way they talk, the way they act, their body language, everything about it. It's just completely fucking unhinged.
I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences.
They did do that.
First. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans.
It's a bit of a miss. Like, my understanding is that they burned them not because it was gender stuff, but because it was written in Jewish and not German. And it was like a retaking of Germany for Germans. That was like the uprising of the Nazis. So it was like, yeah, they were. I think it probably might be both in some circumstances, but like it was categorical for it not being written in German. They also burned porn. Yeah, they burned a lot of stuff. It was both, yeah. And no, a lot. And I wish people like this. It's disappointing that you can't have genuine conversations because people try to just like kind of, like handpick facts and like not talk about things in an honest way. But it's like part of that's true, but it's like not completely true.
LGBT people and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me!
Okay, we're all done here.
Well done.
Fucking
Hey,
pathetic!
no, we're all done. Come on.
Of course, we need to
Guys, these are the people that are on social media who are telling you how to act. Yep. There are NPCs in Oblivion that are like hostile bandits that are less hostile than that. Even them, you can open up dialogue options. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I wonder which Reddit sub wasn't being moderated for the hour that this was going on for.
continue celebrating Black History Month because in spite of what's coming down from Washington, we all know that we all exist and we all need to be recognized for our existence.
But be aware that you are a guest in my house when you
The grapes?
come. And when you come, know that there are strong queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness.
Collect you with the quickness? The fuck does that mean? What does that even mean? They speak in tongues? No, because if they were, it would have made more sense.
My name in drag is Dee Dee Delight. And my name out of drag is Dewey Cosgrove Atienza.
Laddie LaRouge, he, they, in drag, District 3.
My legal name is Olivia D'Ambrosio. My public name is Livy Scanlon. My wife and I own a home in the Canal District.
Okay.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered, like all the time. People refer to me as sir when I prefer to be referred to as ma'am. I speak as someone who is afraid to use public toilets. I speak as someone...
This is what I was saying before. It's that being afraid to use public toilets, like, because I feel like you're talking about, if you're talking about it from like the context of being trans, like it makes sense. But I think that with a lot of these people, this is something that I used to really, really, really like about Facebook, is that in Facebook, you could actually look at a person's life and you could 9 times out of 10 figure out exactly why they're saying what they're saying.
Who is a member of this community and is a queer person.
You have to imagine being me and my wife, fearing that our
What do you
marriage...
do with people like this? I think that the best thing for you to do is to... So I think in a lot of cases, compliance isn't compassion. And sometimes you have to hold people accountable to a higher standard of behavior and decorum. And I think that when you do that and you create a culture that expects people to adhere to a higher degree of behavior, what you do is you create an expectation that is pervasive. And a lot of people that are like this stop acting like this because it's not socially acceptable. And I think that what happens with people like this is that people have enabled it for a long time. And some of these people are not really that bad, right? Like this woman doesn't seem like she's that bad. But some of the other people, like especially the one screaming, like, oh my God, right? And so the problem is that when you allow these people to do what they want to do, oftentimes they end up making their own lives worse. And whenever you just agree with them and tell them that everything that they believe is true because you just don't want to deal with it, what you end up doing is you end up enabling a degree of mental illness that's self-destructive. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these people, is that people give them what they consider to be compassion, but their idea of compassion is just simply what makes them feel good to do. So telling somebody you're right about everything that you think about yourself that might feel very good to do because you're validating this person, but it might not always be the right thing to do for somebody in the long run. And so because we have a culture that's built so much off of optics, appearances, and virtue signaling, you have people like this that get radicalized by people's by their misguided belief that people are compassionate towards them, and they're not compassionate for them. All they're doing is they're telling this person the thing that makes them feel good. And I think that another great example of this happening, another permutation of this happening, is with people that are overweight. And it's toxic empathy. It is. This is what I've been. Remember when I said I'm the most empathetic streamer? One day people realize that I was right. Is that whenever I look at this, I don't, like, yeah, it's funny these people are acting ridiculous for sure. But underneath that, these are deeply troubled people that need help in a lot of cases. And I think that instead of trying to help them improve their lives, people enable them to further destroy their lives. And at a certain point, you're so far gone that you now can no longer reintegrate into society, and you've effectively destroyed your life. So that's really the way that I feel.
Rights will be stripped away at any moment.
Please, I only have so much time. Please, Joe's gonna cut me off.
Which matters more? Covering the
Is that a cape?
legal fees of systemic police brutality or protecting the lives of queer people in our community? How many lives have to be lost before you consider fighting back against fascism and corruption?
Now is the time to say that if federal money relies on the dehumanization of trans people, that we don't want your goddamn money.
I get that some of you care more about fun.
I'm glad that this person who probably lives in an upper middle class household and has never really had to worry about any sort of existential money problems in their life, I'm very glad that he's here to tell the government that other people that have the same viewpoint that he does don't want their money. Thank God that he's able to do that.
About easy funding than trans lives, and don't mind Nazis for some whatever reason. But
let me go back. I wasn't really listening to that.
Of trans people, that we don't want your goddamn money.
I get that some of you care more about easy funding than trans lives, and don't mind Nazis for some whatever reason. But
normally I would say good evening, but through the chair I will only impart my sour grapes.
It's an extremely
Can you imagine, like, this is like your job? You have to just like listen to these people. Because in Austin, it's the same way. I watched a couple of public access TV hearings, and it's like 5 crackheads, a crazy mom, a Karen, some racist guy, another crackhead, and then somebody that has that's dressed up like a Christmas tree that wants every day to be Christmas, and then that's the end of it. Okay, see you guys next Tuesday. That's it. No, really. Like, if you guys ever watched one of your local news station, the city hearings,
emotional and taxing thing to stand up here as someone as part of the trans and gender diverse community.
My name is Katie. I'm from District 5, and I'm speaking in support of agenda items 10B and 14B. Right now in our country, Trump is threatening the trans and gender diverse community.
Noticing people here are trying to control the rights of others, and that's not right. We should make...
I think it's you're really gonna bring the kid in, and then the parents having the kid read this stuff. I mean, you're really in that's child abuse. It's it's one thing. I know obviously families are gonna have ideologies that they teach their kids, but it's one thing to have your kid learn about this ideology, and it's another thing to use them as your like as your bullhorn, so you can have like some sort of like, I guess you could say like emotional upper hand, right? It's so weird. As your mouthpiece. Yeah, exactly. It's a prop.
We're a sanctuary city for trans people. Everybody deserves to feel safe and everybody needs to feel
Well, if the kid wanted to. I think that in a lot of cases when kids want to do something, a parent sometimes needs to look at what the outcome of that thing is and then decide whether that's good for the kid in the long run. Because there's a reason why kids can't make decisions for themselves. And so what I think in a lot of cases is it's parents that groom their kids. And this isn't in like a sexual way, right? Necessarily. It's just parents that groom their kids to be extremists in this way. And then, of course, the kids act this way because that's what they've been brought up to do. I mean, it's the same as like, I mean, a lot of the kids in like, I don't know. I mean, you could use it Joseph Kony's child army, right? I mean, like a lot of them were effectively groomed to be in a fucking, African army of God. It's the same thing as in the Middle East. Like a lot of these like kids that are holding like fake AK-47s, like they were groomed into this. Like this is just bad spawn RNG. So like you shouldn't look at the kid and say like there's anything really like wrong that the kid's doing. And like, yeah, the kid wants to do it. Of course the kid wants to do it because their entire life and the structure of their reward system is built around them reinforcing this behavior. So of course they're going to do it because they've been trained to do that.
safe. I've lived here for 4 years and there hasn't really been any changes in how people feel safe in the city. My birthday is this Saturday and all I want is peace and for you to vote yes. Please don't let me down for my birthday. There's a lot of queer people that I love, and to Candy Carlson, you should know to never call someone I'm 7 and I know better. The kids are watching and we're ready to vote you out.
Oh my gosh.
Man. Oh my gosh. The kid did not read that? Yeah, I don't know what to say. 7 years old, exactly. Isn't this the same thing as Musk bringing his son to the Oval Cabinet? Both is not a place for a kid. I knew that there would be a low IQ person that would try to draw that correlation. So I already thought about what the difference was whenever I was saying it. Because, like, this is just, again, it's just a very, it's like an obvious, like, I'm not going to think about this at all or put any effort into it. But I'm just going to, like, try to draw this correlation so I can, like, double down on some perceived hypocrisy. It's totally different because his kid isn't speaking for him. His kid isn't being used to push any sort of agenda. They're not having the kid as a mouthpiece or a tool to advance an agenda. The kid is just simply there in the office that's participating in the event. So it's the difference between putting them front and center versus just literally having him there. It's emotional manipulation. Yeah, sure. And so, like, no, it's just, again, people love making comparisons like that. And, yeah, I guess so. Make this a safe space or I will make it an unsafe space. Jesus. I wonder what these people are going to do, man. I think they're going to ruin their own life, man. And X was there telling journalists to shut up being paced? Yeah, but it's not like Elon was telling him to do that. He's just doing it on his own, right? Elon let his kid be a kid instead of forcing him into adulthood. Yeah, exactly. I think that's also a really good way of saying it, too. I really like that. That's a good way of approaching it and saying it. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's really kind of sad to see. Holy fuck. It's sad to see stuff like this happen because I think a lot of these people are just straight up mentally ill and crazy. But, yeah, it's insane, man. It really is.